Ubisoft's The Division has been out for a little while now, living up to our expectations and also confirming our worst nightmare. It's an Ubisoft game. As we saw in the beta, the third-person cover-based shooter with a touch of massive multiplayer action looks great and moves well, though as feared in the final release, the concessions made to accommodate RPG leveling and looting mechanics mean the shooting feels completely compromised, with beanie and parka-clad enemies able to absorb several clips of ammunition before they drop. It's the sort of problem the similar MMO shooter Destiny was able to sidestep by saying, it's in space. But here, there's no getting around the fact that a hoodie can protect someone from a sniper bullet to the face. Ignoring that little immersion breaker, the combat is mobile, tactical and fun, particularly in groups, and the game provides a lot of neat spaces to explore in its depiction of a disease-ravaged Manhattan. It's a fun game and there's a lot to do, but the more I play, the more uncomfortable I get about the scenario on display here. Yes, I'm afraid we have to talk about the politics of The Division. Now, in the game, The Division is an elite group of sleeper agents activated by the US president to ensure the continuity of the government during a time of crisis. In the end, that's your mission in New York, not to save the citizens and find a cure for the disease that's decimated the populace, but to make sure that the lights are still on in Times Square. Frankly, that makes me feel a little less heroic than the developers probably would like, and it's made worse when you spend any length of time at all thinking about the enemies you'll spend most of your time fighting. The Division doesn't have you fighting any kind of invasive force. The enemies you face were always present in New York, vicious opportunists waiting for the chance to bring chaos and violence to the streets. I'm talking about poor people. There are three factions you fight in the game. The Rioters, who are clad in the traditional gang-coloured baseball caps and bandanas that video games have been using since the release of Straight Outta Compton. The Rikers, escapees from Rikers Island who have gone full Arkham Asylum mad. And remember, Rikers Island is a jail, not a prison, which means a lot of the people stuck there are simply awaiting a trial and too poor for bail. I mean, they haven't even been convicted yet. And the last group are the Cleaners, a bunch of garbagemen and other sanitary workers who decided that an epidemic was the perfect time to build the world's most shootable flamethrower and get to work torching buildings. The creative director of the game claims there's no particularly political message at work here, but guys, this isn't even subtext. The Division casts you as a government operative shooting poor people until New York is tourist-friendly again. I'd love to say that there's some kind of Spec Ops The Line action here, where it turns out that the player was the real monster all along, but that may be giving them more credit than they do. If you can overlook this, if you don't really care about the context of your cover-based shooting, then there's still plenty to love about The Division. It's great to look at and sets a new standard for cover-to-cover movement, and the Seeker Mine looks and sounds like a homicidal BB-8 droid who desperately wants a hug. Plus it continues the long-standing video game trend of dressing up the flamethrower and grenade men in bright red backpacks that blow up when they're grazed by a passing bullet. These guys are super fun, The Division, and I suggest pursuing this theme further in future DLC. Maybe a faction comprised entirely of animate balloon animals, or a gang of deranged Zeppelin enthusiasts. These ideas are yours for free. The Division is chock full of tried and tested good ideas combined in complementary ways. I just wish I could completely switch my brain off while I played it.